if not just like period. So to show that those are two of the people in losers, and like these people made it in winners over them is kind of a big tell on like Slytiger had to go through it. Slytiger beat Yoshimitsu 6, Marginal, Hyrule Hero Joe just to make it into top 16, and then after that had to beat Oz, right? So
and beat him pretty handily, if I remember correctly. It was not
calling out Oz like that.
I mean, I'm not calling him out specifically. I'm calling the match the way I see it, and it seemed pretty convincing. But Xephukai and Sly have definitely played against each other before in things like Wednesday night fights and stuff like that. It would seem, based on the conversation I had with Zeph beforehand, that he was relatively confident going with Sophie as opposed to X during his match against Slytiger specifically. So we'll see how this goes on the bridge.
Well, I mean, we're seeing it right here. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of that 1K. Yeah. Be ready for it.
We're going to see a lot of the 1K. We're going to see a lot of the Talim 6K. We're going to see a lot of kicks.
Most definitely. I mean, right there. The 2-2B already working out for Xephukai. RE cancel is just going to give Slytiger a little bit, but yeah, recognizing the string is a high directly after getting the duck into lethal hit. Not going to kill, but the CE comes out, and that's going to hit because Xephukai was going for 6-6-A.
I really appreciate somebody who is fully aware that they built one full bar within one round, so you might as well use it as opposed to waiting on it for the next round. Even if he had waited for the 6-6-A punish, I don't think the punish would have been enough to kill, so I appreciate going for that gamble. It's not even that heavy of a gamble, right, seeing as how the Talim CE is going to be safe anyway. Oh man, so many of these tech crouches are just duck into lethal hits over and over again from Zeph have already been, catching up, but he is going to have some guard damage issues as time goes on as well.
Yeah, well, up against the wall right here is pretty much forced to just trying to roll, not to get guard broken, but at this point you kind of want to take the guard break, if anything.
Yeah, it's just to mitigate the issues from, later on. But, okay, so he ends up trying it, but yeah, 6-6-A yet again. Zeph hasn't necessarily been conditioned to think that 6-6-A is going to be punished or it's going to be an issue for him, because the only time that he was able to beat the 6-6-A was from the CE, which is not something Sly has available to him at the moment. Wow, that grabbed a lot of damage.
Wasn't it a side throw, or am I wrong?
I thought
it was side throw.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness! Wow, the 2-2B actually catching on the backside. The CE comes out, but it's just a little late, so 0 on block, but the soul charge comes out. Doesn't want to have to deal with it.
He doesn't have an RI to get out of any of this pressure. It's going to be a lot of shit damage. Fantastic GI. Ends up cutting the reversal edge early.
And there's not a lot of life for Xephukai right now, but the 2-2B working out. Soul attack to get the pressure. Ow! Backstep.
That wasn't even 6K. That was just a regular K. He didn't even go for like the tech crouch version. Oh man. Fantastic whip punish on top of it. Sprinting at each other. Right. This is a mirror of the previous round that Zeph ended up winning, where Sly constantly is getting a huge amount of damage right at the get-go, but ends up getting hit up by some of these ducks, some of these commitment tech crouches that Zeph is pulling out. A 6-6-A hasn't even been blocked yet. It's either just been hit out of it or just got hit by it. So I don't even know if he's going to be 6-6-A yet again. Okay, it's going to be a meter battle. Let's see who ends up pulling this out. Okay.
CE comes out, gotta try to go. Oh, no, wanted the pressure, but immediately Xephukai was going towards a button, getting CE'd for his troubles, and that's going to be game number 1, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, everything in this top 8 is going to be 3 out of 5. Just throwing that out.
I was going to mention it if you hadn't, yeah. So I'm very curious to see, like, when I talked with Zeph, he seemed pretty confident that he knew because he's played against Slytiger quite a handful of times before. He felt like he knew exactly what he needed to do, and it was just a matter of executing it properly. And he felt fully confident about sticking with Sophie, not going to X. He did also say that he sometimes will change just based on his comfort level and how he's feeling at the time, but it looks like he's going to stick with Sophie. I assume that he wants to continue to have a character that has those lethal hits to punish highs as much as possible, so it makes sense.
Did he specifically mention anything about stage selection? Because I'm wondering if maybe he wanted a stage that is a bit smaller so he wouldn't have to deal with Slytiger, kind of playing hit and run.
He didn't really mention anything with stages. If I had to guess, he would want something as neutral as possible, in which case, were he to hypothetically lose on this stage, I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to stick with this stage.
Okay. Alright, I was curious. And okay, so right there, Xephukai's done that a couple of times already at this point. On Oki, decided to stay on the ground so he doesn't have to deal with the Talim mix-up pressure. Because, I mean, he can take an OTG damage or two, right? It's not really going to be a whole lot, but the mix-up that comes out afterwards is the big deal.
Slytiger, once he gets really going, okay, there's no way that that GI was supposed to be. Something tells me that was a buffer kind of issue from SOULCALIBUR 6 as opposed to him just trying to GI after a stand kick, but
dude, the buffer is so long in this game.
Oh no, I think that was a real GI, so man, Xeph is really having a tough time understanding what Slytiger's pressure is going to be like. This is the first time he was able to get a whip punish on a 2-2A.
Already up against the wall though, Slytiger's gonna have to deal with the pressure here, and then the interrupt on the Angel Step.
Just overall, the amount of damage that Slytiger is able to dish out, they're going back and forth, but the amount of the damage disparity is just crushing Xeph at the moment. Good punish. He's got the soul charge. Sly doesn't have the ability to get out of it just yet.
Ooh, nice block on the 1K though, and then the favorable clash. That was really good for Slytiger because now able to push the pressure. The CE comes out. This is 0.
Alright, he was able to block out everything, and 6-6A yet again. 6-6A has been a total saver, so it's clear that what Xeph wants to do in this matchup is pick him apart with tech crouches. And the only way that Sly is gonna be able to mitigate that kind of thing is making sure that he's properly punishing the 6-6As. I say that, and yet I don't think a single one has been blocked yet. He's either been hit out of it or he's gotten hit by it. So I don't know. This is why he wanted to stick with Sophie for sure. He wanted the ability to tech under grabs, tech under a lot of stuff, and get those lethal hits. And it seems to be winning him the day in this game specifically.
Yeah, I mean, if you've watched pretty much any SOULCALIBUR event with Talim on deck, everybody always talks about a lot of her offense starting with highs.
Yeah.
And so being able to tech crouch under those, or even just regular ass crouch into any sort of lethal hit that Sophie has because of the crouch is, well, I mean, it's phenomenal, obviously. We saw it just a little bit ago.
Wow, I really gotta say, I love how they're both playing around this Talim's back is against the ring edge kind of thing, because he went for the reverse ring out thing twice, and both times when it didn't work, they both just looked at each other for a while. Ooh, he ended up getting the RI from the soul charge, so I should shut up. And Xeph ends up like winning that round, but I appreciated the way they decided to like fiddle around and be very awkward with how that reverse ring out situation was going to be going. It seemed like 3 or 4 exchanges in a row where nobody was really getting any kind of pressure because they were both scared about how they were going to be able to pull it off. But Xeph ends up evening it up. They decided to keep with the same stage.
Yeah, it looks like it.
About as neutral of a stage as possible, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Slytiger is going to need, like, anything extra. And the worst part about it is if he does switch, he could get something worse than he does get something better, so...
I could see him wanting something where he might be able to ring out over small walls, but Sophie is relatively good at that as well, so... Man, I gotta say, the fact that Xeph is effectively dropping the punish on Talim's 2-2A so that he can task through and go through the evasion and get something even heavier, that's some pretty specific matchup knowledge. That's pretty solid.
Matchup knowledge is definitely going to be what you need here, especially with the way Slytiger played that first game. It's you absolutely need the matchup knowledge, because the big damage that he's been dishing out just at the very beginning of each round is something you want to avoid.
Kind of been, he's not necessarily getting as high of damage as he was in the beginning of the set. He's still obviously keeping up, especially in this round. Okay, it looks like Xeph is no longer going to be trying a GI in that situation. That was a real big deal that one time. Oh, he continued
using the cancel right there to be able to stop that. But, okay, the Tasby on the wake up, Heaven's Arches.
Xeph is almost dead to a CE if it ends up happening. Now he's definitely dead to a CE.
Wow, incredible.
That's going to give him the round. Yeah, it's definitely... The tail of the tape is whenever Sly is dedicating to a high, it is just destroying him. I feel like... I mean, I know that it's frustrating because he wants to go with the highs. Those are the most damaging things. That's how you're going to continue on with the pressure, but... the damage he's eating when Xeph is right about just one of them is just... It's just too much. It's just way too much.
Well, I mean, Xephukai on the next game point, but there is the lethal hit off the sidestep. Got 2 bars for Slytiger, so that's huge. I mean, the way that she can use meter is pretty hellacious sometimes. So you really got to watch out for what Slytiger wants to use it for, especially on the situations of guard.
Yeah, we haven't really seen. That's not going to kill just yet. Has a soul attack readily available. The soul... Oh, yeah, I don't know so much about that high. I feel like that was a little bit desperate. I feel like he just kind of blanked at the very last moment there. So Xeph really seemed like it was a rocky start. It was a warm-up kind of game at the beginning, and now he seems to be convincingly pushing it more towards his advantage. So Sly, I feel like, needs to calm it down, needs to not rely on, you know, high variance type of highs for pressure and damage. I think if he plays a little bit more of a you know, contained, tight type of style, I think it's going to go better for him. But of course, I bet that's what Xeph wants him to do as well. So, tough to say.
I mean, we're not going to know until Slytiger actually goes for it, right? Like, at the moment, he's basically just getting hit by 66B, 1K, and 66A, like, over and over again. And to Xephukai's credit, his 66A timings have been so odd that Slytiger hasn't been able to punish. Like, right there, we saw that one was blocked, but it was just too far away that the 6K didn't actually connect. So, it had been a little weird for Slytiger so far to be able to deal with it.
Playing Possum yet again, you can definitely tell that there's a certain level of matchup knowledge that Xeph has with this, coupled with player knowledge, because they've played against each other before. Is that the third grab?
Yeah.
so we get it, Xeph. You're really cool. You need to calm down, though. Nice duck. Doesn't get anything out of it. It was just a little bit of a twitch. That's not going to hit, is it?
Nah, jumps right over. But but that made sense for Xephukai, though. Wanting to be able to interrupt, it was real smart, because Slytiger has basically gotten away with that transition a couple of times. And so Xephukai is now showing that, like, I can shut it down. And then now gets the 6-6B and just finishes it off.
Yeah, these 6-6Bs, typically speaking, it's a mid that you can, offline at least, like, react to. But the fact that Sly is constantly ducking into them ever since the third game started, you don't really need many of those. And now, see, like, it's all kind of falling apart for Sly. He's getting a little bit too aggressive on Wake Up. He's going to spend a soul charge here. You can do it with a wall combo. So, okay, here we go. I don't know if that's it's not a wall splat yet. This is his wall splat, but I think that's just the round. Yeah.
Oh yeah, most def. Didn't even get to hit the wall yet, so...
Did the same string 3 times in a row as a retort to Xeph doing a run-up grab 3 times in a row.
I also think it was probably optimal, but
Yeah, the statement is important. Optimal statement.
Tech on the grab and a beautiful whiff punish right there. That was max distance on that. Yeah. But yeah, back to the wall, or back to the ledge. And again, we're in that situation of, like, reverse ring out was a possibility, but 6-6B into CE, and it's not looking good for Slytiger. Yeah, there it is.
So that's going to end up giving Xeph into winners finals, and overall, it just really seemed, you really got an understanding that Xeph was very comfortable with what Sly was doing after the first game, where it was clear that he was getting a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of pressure that was going on, and it really seemed like Xeph knew the positions where the only options that Sly really had were to either win Charmer back or to try and go with a high, and so many of those situations both lose to task forward, and so he was just using a lot of Twin Angel Step to punish to such an incredible degree that's very specific for Sophie, and I very much appreciate that. You don't really get to see that very often.
It wasn't just the angel steps, too, that were able to tech crouch under the stuff. It was also the fact that despite whenever Xephukai got knocked down, playing Possum, like you said, right? Like, staying on the ground, even in the match the game that Slytiger won pretty, like, emphatically, but Xephukai had shown that was the game plan from the get-go in that game, because a lot of that damage was negated. A lot of those Oki situations were negated because Xephukai decided to stay on the ground, and Slytiger had not yet been ready to just take the free OTG damage or to make something else happen instead.
Yeah, overall, just I really feel like for the most part, Sly would do a lot better if he was comfortable not necessarily trying to make big swings in the match, going through haymakers over and over again, and play a little bit more tight, small caliber a little bit more, because without it, you're allowing a character like Sophie to pull off these ducks that are going to get her so much damage with these lethal hits that even a character like Talim isn't going to be able to compete. I also kind of wish that Soul Charge was happening a little bit more. I think he might have been relying too heavily on random Talim CE, which is good, but if that's all you're going to use for the meter, you're going to have a lot of, like, pent-up meter that you're not really using. Meanwhile, Xeph has the ability to use Soul Attack and Soul Charge at the same time, or CE and Soul Attack at the same time. So I don't know so much. I feel like a little bit more variance with the pressure is going to be better with regards to meter usage.
Oh, whatever the case may be, we're going to have to see it later if it's even possible. Slytiger's going to be in the loser's bracket, just like you mentioned, Xephukai, moving on to winners finals. One thing before we get into our next matches that I want to implore you guys is check out the Matcherino, right?
Yes,
Exclamation point Matcherino in the chat. We just got the free codes renewed.
We got some
so
new
you guys
codes.
can start using free codes again.
Let's go, guys. DXC2 top 8. And you know, we're trying to blow it up, guys. Like, we really need your help. Like, wow, we're trying to at least match the record of the last time. So if you want to help us out, use that code first off. Check out an item in the store. If you're trying to donate $35 or more, you can cop an item in the marketplace. You get some swag for donating your money. Or if you want to donate straight up, you can too. check out the sponsor quest to donate free. I know it says not available in your region, but this is like a bug that if you just refresh, it'll come back. The players are starting soon, so I'm trying to get up much chilling as possible. Click the sponsor quest, guys. Click G Fuel Energy. Click, look at that. There's like 90 cents. There's tons of chips right into the prize pool. And, you know, we're trying to get to that second stretch goal, in which we add another $500 to the pot. So can you do that so I can just yell? Just interrupt the commentators? Thanks.
Yo, let's go!
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to note about those stretch goals right before the players are going to get into the match. I think we only need about like $350 to reach the next stretch goal, in which case Shadow Texas is going to donate another $500. And then if we get $800 overall together, then we get double stretch goals from Shadow Texas. And that's going to take us, so for just $800, we get it to $3,000. And that's a pretty big deal.
So, all right, coming into it, Boom is going to be on the Yoshimitsu, and Nowo is going to be on the Sung Mina. You know, Boom, as we all know, the greatest Raphael player.
The Raphael player, it's true. I had asked him before this match started. I was wondering if he was thinking about going with Hwang. He was very much not about Hwang for this matchup specifically. He has a lot of high regard for Noah as a player, and he feels like Mina kind of destroys Hwang, which I'm inclined to agree. Fighting long range with mid range isn't all that great when you have a character like this, where you can do a lot of ring outs, a lot of wall combos, and just overwhelm a long range character with your short frames. Fantastic stuff. So I'm curious to see when Raphael ends up being played. I guess we'll find out later.
Oh, I mean, the first round is definitely telling that it's not really mattering on which character you're playing, because Noah was just right in there. Had him pretty much up against the wall the entire time. I mean, 66K is coming out a lot, but oh, there it is, finally.
I feel like Boom is kind of dropping some of these combos. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, well, he's getting a solid amount of pressure. Difficult to deal with Med K. Noah getting the block punishes as much as he can. Decides not to RI on the AA Brave Edge. Whoa! That's the ring out! Oh my god! That was so good.
Hard read on the Dragonfly K. Incredible.
Wow, that was perfect, too. In a way, I guess Boom should have expected it, because that was the only way he could have lost the whole round, but also... Can you expect something like that? I don't know.
I was like, that's all I know.
Yeah, that was really great. Noah knowing exactly what he could do to potentially win, and it ended up working out in his favor. He gets a little bit of damage off of that soul charge. Has to worry about, well, Yoshi in his face, but also a little bit of this guard damage as well. Oh, wow. They just jump away and teleport from each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what Boom needed to do. Boom was in the middle of the strings, right? So you kind of had to teleport just to be able to get away. And Nowo is beautifully calling out all of these transitions with Soul Charge, forcing the splat, and now forcing the Soul Charge. Tech crouches under the A's.
I don't know how the Soul Charge versus Soul Charge is going to work. The fact that Nowo isn't RIing in some of these situations could potentially... Okay, so that's about as good as it could have happened for Boom. I think he was going for the 66K specifically for the guard break, and he was willing to sacrifice that guard break for that round. The fact that he didn't have to do that, and he still gets to use that that tool, is a pretty big deal. You can see it's kind of interacting with how Noah wants to play, because he's getting hit by 68 plus B. That's probably going to give him the ring out. So now suddenly we're in a situation where Noah's going to have a lot of meter. Mina's Soul Charge is terrifying, in my opinion, the most terrifying Soul Charge in the game. But I guess Boom doesn't have to worry about it if he's just throwing knees in the face.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was assuming was the previous rounds, like things that 66A was meant to do. But finally, the steps from Boom, able to actually like get around that, because that Soul Charge string had been kind of messing with him in the very first round, and now it's not as effectual. It's gonna make Noah think twice. But, well, I mean, if you're on the offensive getting these launchers, you're never going to have to think twice. Oh, CE, but...
No, it's too late. That's too mad slow. I don't know how he's going to deal with this Soul Charge. I don't know if we're going to have... Okay, he tried to be, like, just as cool as Noah was in that last round, and he wasn't that cool. So, you know, sorry. Okay, immediately going into rematch. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to stick with this for the entire...
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Boom has been on record very recently saying, I don't know how anybody could think Yoshi isn't the best character in the game right now, so...
It's a justifiable argument. I'm not going to say that he's definitely wrong. We're talking about abstract stuff as it is. He ended up eating well over half-life just trying to get in the first 20 seconds. Noah just kind of kicking him and doing a lot of guard gauge damage as Mina is wont to do.
Not the counter hit on the K, but still able to get the hell sweep here. Up against the ledge, too. That's the scary part.
Yeah. Curious to see. Nobody really has resources just yet. Fantastic step duck, getting all that guard damage. I really feel like Boom needs to win this round, but a fantastic reversal edge is going to Okay, well, I don't think that's what Noah was expecting to have happen, to actually utilize the guard break, but again, very similar to what I said about Slytiger building the meter in one round. If you build a guard break in one round, you should feel comfortable just using it, because clearly you can just build it again next round.
Well, I mean, especially when it's like Mina, right? She can already do... Yeah. Well, it's no longer the same amount of guard damage as it was when she originally got the move, but it's pretty close to 40%.
God, man, Boom is just struggling to try and get in here. I don't know, man. I don't know about this argument that the character is the best character in the game. You know, I'm going to go off of just one single match and say that he's not, because that's a pretty fair argument as well. But yeah, he's having a tough time just getting through the guard damage, just the awkward pokes that Mina is throwing out here. Not to mention he's going to have to deal with double bar Mina at some point as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was already hard enough right now just to be able to get around a lot of the step ducking, around a lot of the 6-6B, but I mean, it's just getting worse and worse by the second! And there's the throw, and one more mix-up at this point, and yeah, it's just a regular OK, not trying to keep it any weird.
That match was very fast. Immediately going to character select. Are we gonna see the Raphael?
The Raph.
Are we gonna see... Does anybody know that there's no way he's gonna play Raphael? You know what? No, I'm sticking to this bit. He's going over to Raphael. He's gonna go with Hwang. Okay. So he said before, he is really not interested in playing Hwang against Mina. And so I think that this is a reaction to the fact that those last two games were very convincing. It's clear that Noah was very comfortable, and he's just going to try to rely on the fact that maybe Noah doesn't know a lot about Hwang. There's not very many people who do, and he's a very complicated character. So I think that's what he's going to hope for. I think the other thing that is kind of nagging Boom in the back of his mind, Noah does have a Valdo as well, and Noah can potentially pull that out, and he said that his Valdo does very well against Boom's Hwang as well. So this is a bet. He's going to have to win 3 games with this Hwang, so we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, so basically what you're telling me is that the Yoshi was not only an attempt at being able to fight versus the Mina, since the matchup itself is already bad for Hwang, but also to stay away from having to fight Valdo versus Hwang, since they have a history of being unable to...
a double knock to Boom's Hwang, so he's taking a pretty big bet. He gets a neutrally kind of stage. He's not necessarily going to have to worry about ring outs. That ring out was insane in that first game. I've never seen a tech jump lethal hit off of Yoshi stance transitions for a ring. I mean, that was, I don't know. To me, that was the best thing I've seen so far this tournament. I just really thought about it.
We're only 2 matches in, man.
Yeah.
Already in devastation. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the go-to for Boom's Hwang for sure. And honestly, it's probably one of the better auras to just be in.
Especially against hard soul charge characters.
Exactly.
I mean, the Mina CE really isn't something that you're going to see all that often outside of like 4 ring outs. So you're really going to see the soul charge more often than not. Ew,
yeah, and
terrible tracking.
Well, I mean, right now Devastation's not really going to be able to do a ton, other than just give the damage boost, but...
Ends up deciding to spend a talisman in order to go for that string. Oh, it doesn't fully hit, but that's going to give him the round. Okay. Only at -1, so, you know, no reason to get too granular in terms of all the intricate details with regards to Hwang. There's a variety of different mechanics that are at work here, and they each other and stuff, but the main thing to note about Hwang, fantastic sidestep, not really all that great with regards to pulse games, very similar to how Yoshi plays just overall, so we're going to see how this pans out. Ooh, wow. Fantastic Pulpo V.
Yeah, Boom was specifically trying to be able to get the back throw right there, but luckily for Noah, was still on the side, was able to turn around just enough. Caught the roll there. Evidently catches Ukemi's.
Is it like a wall specific? I have to talk. I'm going to write this down. I have to talk to Noah about this. But he ends up getting the 6A lethal hit, close to potentially a ring out as well, so he's going to have to be worried about that.
Oh, wow, caught the step on that, too. Yeah, I mean, you know, that makes a lot of sense, actually, to continue the string, because Hwang is want for a step, but K gets the lethal hit, and that should be a ring out. Yeah, easy money.
Fantastic stuff. So that's a pretty big deal. The fact that, you know, he's going to inevitably have a last round Hwang where he immediately becomes so much stronger. He doesn't have to worry about the handicap or going in way too negative. He can just spend as many talismans as he wants. He doesn't have to worry about it.
He's also got the bars, so if it starts to look a little dicey about spending talismans, he can maybe get a few of those back on Cs. But 1B already soul charge, so Devastation is more powerful now and got lethal hits opened up because you're in soul charge.
Wow, fantastic block and punish. Okay, so the wall rising K ends up filling the entire situation for that stance. He decided to go for the whole thing. He does. That's the second time that no one's gotten hit by the extension. Not so much
like you mentioned. just like you mentioned, no reason not to go for it at this point, right? Like, you get those negative talismans, and it doesn't matter because you've at the very least set up, and yeah, that is one of the farthest range moves in the entire game. Probably goes as far as Zas 2-2B plus K. It reaches.
Short of literal projectiles like gunshots, it's hard to have something that's that's any longer than the width from Hwang. But wow, fantastic stuff.
Like, while it is a true vertical, it doesn't move Hwang forward, so he doesn't have to worry about getting hit while doing it, unlike some of the characters who have stuff that move like that, right? So that's the really nice part about it.
I think you would basically, in this matchup, just have to worry about Mina sidestep, then dash forward, then maybe CE, because he does have a very long-range CE, but, you know, that's a pretty heavy call-out. Ooh, speaking of call-outs.
Speaking of heavy call-outs.
Getting a full bar on top of it. Boom with nothing right now.
Oh, I mean, comeback's not impossible. We saw it a little bit earlier, actually. The very first round of this Hwang. Okay, well, never mind. Gonna be a -2 coming into this.
Yeah, he tried for that back turn ring out. It just didn't end up panning out. He loses a little bit of life, immediately goes into devastation. AAA.
Yeah, this character has such a bevy of strong lows, honestly. And that's one of the reasons why you see people ducking a lot versus Hwang, is because, like, his lows are prominent, but the duck under here. Okay, back turn.
Combo ends up getting dropped, but he ends up doing the rest of the combo as is, because why not? But yeah, definitely a fantastic suite of lows. None of them really have all that great with regards to a plus frames on hit, but still a fantastic mix of character just overall. So it's definitely worth it to constantly be trying to find, you know, tech crouches or just ducks in general, taking a lot of bets very quickly.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Boom was able to catch so many mids, was because you saw Nowo specifically looking for those. And, you know, that's where the damage is coming from, especially thanks to being in Devastation. When you're in any talisman, you're getting the extra damage anyway, regardless of if they're doing the specific thing. And you can see that payoff in spades. Boom is basically just deleting life bars if he gets a hit.
Huge, you know, fantastic series of small hits over and over again, and kind of utilizing the pressure that Hwang is going to have on a slower character. Definitely, you can see him going for a lot more stance transitions that might be -12 as well, because he's not really worried about the -12 punish from Mina. You're talking about a stand kick, which really isn't that big of a deal. So now it's going to be, okay, so we're going to have Soul Charge versus Soul Charge for the first time in this matchup. Oh, he should have done the whip. He baited it, and, like, if he had done it, it would have been like 4.2 trillion damage.
I mean, hey, look, that's hindsight, though. Like, how are you for sure going to know? But, all right, got Nowo to finally stand up and actually into the grab right there. Going to block the string, but no punish, but catches the step. Not a lot of life black, and that's the mid.
But this is a pretty big deal. -5. That's a lot of life loss, and that's enough meter loss to where Boom doesn't have a bar now. Okay, so this is last round. Hwang tries to go for the Soul Charge activation catch. It didn't pan out, which means he does not have meter for a Soul Charge back. He's going to have to come up with something real quick here.
Well, I mean, because he's in the Soul Charge, Boom is getting more powerful here, and, I mean, already putting on the pressure. Went for the lethal hit, but unfortunately got 2-2 beat for his troubles. And, I mean, it's still on deck because it didn't connect at the very least, but catches her out of the air, and with the bar, the lethal hit finally, and the mid.
Boom, you're scaring the hell out of me. I could have sworn that lethal hit was more damage, and I was like, is he actually going to, like, spend the bar? Is he going to do it off of a soul attack? Does he have a way of using a CE? And by the time I was finished not answering all those questions in my head, the game was over. Oh,
so that lethal hit is more damage, but the thing is Noah was in the air when he got hit by it. So he actually had to, when he went for the rest of the combo, he had to go for something that, like, caught somebody out of the air rather than catching somebody, you know, in any other better situation. So, I mean, Boom basically just made the most of what he had.
So, hey, I mean, when I talked to him, which was only just a handful of minutes ago, Boom said that he was definitely going Yoshi, and that kind of got scraped. And now
he also said he was definitely not going Raph, right? So
yeah, so, you know, who knows what bevy of lies lays asunder in Boom's mouth. I mean, you know, who knows when we're going to be able to see that inevitable Raph. Ooh, just going with raw 3B, just kind of abusing the fact that Noah was not interested in punishing -12. Gets a back grab punish.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest back grabs in the game, for sure.
Yeah. Hwang's always had some of the best grabs in general, in my humble opinion.
You mean Assassin?
Yes to both. Just a little bit small stuff. We're playing a little bit more defensive. Both players are now on a game point, so I think they're both a little bit more timid.
Well, yeah, you know, this is actually the most backstep, sidestep we've seen from Boom so far. Yeah. And what's funny enough is it's on the shortest stage they've played on, too.
Yeah,
so, like...
Oh, he ends up getting the lethal hit on the very first round. Does he spend the CE? No, he doesn't. He decides to just wait.
Need to.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. The only reason why he would spend the CE is to make sure that he was going to get positive talismans, but it's really not that important when you're just going down to -1.
Yeah, -1 is really not a lot, especially when you're already in Devastate. When you have any aura already on you, because you were getting that extra damage regardless. So you're going to be able to make up for that as long as you can get something.
So going for the guard break. Again, he is in Devastation, which means that now that there's a soul charge involved, he is going to get more damage and going to have be provided with another lethal hit. Who knows if it's actually going to come up.
He also got the talismans back on activation of the soul charge, so next round, if he wins this, could be okay. It could be a lot less of a detriment. But, oh, there's the throw, and okay, yeah, so -4, where he probably would have been at, like, -6.
Right. He has a lot of meter on top of it as well. I'm curious to see how he ends up. Ooh, wow, that wall rising B. But this is very interesting. Both of them have decided to take this match a little bit slower, and I'm curious to see. It's kind of working for both players and kind of not working for both players. So I don't know how it's really going to pan out. Boom has this meter advantage, but he needs to use it pretty soon.
Trying to make it happen without the meter, it clearly looks like, which is funny because it's Boom, you know, the effervescent use your meter man. And now he's effectively wasted a bar because he's going to just drain one right here.
I gotta say, something that I've been noticing Noah throughout this entire set, his awkward just stand kicks have really been producing so much mileage. He ends up getting that lethal hit yet again, but these awkward kind of pokes from a slower, longer range character really seems to be confusing Boom quite a lot. It's actually reminiscent of how Boom typically plays as well. Gets a fantastic soul charge combo, tons of chip damage.
Ooh, he's got the wall too. He's gonna wait. Is he?
No, he's not dead.
Okay.
Ooh, cheeky.
I was wondering if the unblockable was actually going to rock. That's why I was questioning if he was dead. Not.
I think it's another one of those unblockables where it's like you have to tech or else you're going to get hit by it. But yeah, it doesn't end up panning out. Boom is potentially going to get a soul charge. We're down to the very last round of this set. He did just get that hit by it.
Well, the soul charge is on deck for Nowo, and already using that damage to create effectiveness. Another soul charge, so that's going to be some more talismans back to Boom. Oh, but, I mean, last round not going to matter, and there's the lethal hit.
Is that it? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I don't think that match went anywhere the way that Boom expected. I don't think he was planning on playing Hwang at all. I definitely know that he was planning on playing Raph at some point during this tournament, so it's unfortunate, you know, that we didn't get to see it in winners. Maybe we'll get to see it in losers.
Yeah, we all want to see the Raph, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, no, like I 100% agree. That match did not go how it was talked about, right? Because like we weren't even expecting the Hwang to want to come out because of that situation where Boom wanted to be able to kind of set up for both characters that Nowo potentially could pick, but Nowo Sung Mina just did the damn job. Like, was straight up as strong as needed to be. You were specifically talking about not just the defensive capabilities on being able to be nice and pensive and stay back at first.
Oh, hey guys.
Hwang to hang himself.
Hey guys, so Cervantes just donated $300. Yes.
Talk about.
You know what, Ebonic? I will only stop you when it's crazy.
That's
yeah, that's worth stopping for.
Cervantes, thank you. That's amazing. Appreciate it.
Yep. That is worth stopping for. Yeah, as we're stopping.
Effectively at 2678, right?
Yes.
I'm about to do it right now.
Yes,
all right.
Effectively at that. But didn't we have something to talk about, Ian, first?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
I have that.
So,
right.
just hello everyone out there in Streamland. This is your friendly neighborhood tournament organizer, Sabin Deus. So far, 2 very, very entertaining sets. I am very impressed so far with everything that's happened, especially the fact that suddenly we have a winners finals that I've seen 2 NLBCs in a row. This is very familiar. It's like I'm running a very big NLBC, I guess. I have something unrelated to NLBC and to what's going on here to mention before we move on. So you may have noticed that we have Boom rocking the GILG tag for today. All right, you can put it up. We're gonna talk about GILG really quick. Now I didn't know him very well, but sadly GILG passed away. We learned yesterday, and he was a friend to many people in the Soul Calibur 6 community. Dell and Kenny have put together this memorial website for anyone who wants to write anything about Eric and just, you know, remember him. He was a streamer that I think a lot of people loved, and again, I'm not the one to eulogize him here, but I'm gonna put a link to this in the chat.
I did. I did as well.
You did? Okay, great, thanks. So anyone who remembers him and wants to honor him in some way can
check out that Everlove.
Check that out.
I'll paste it again for you guys before we
thank you.
Head on.
I wanted to let everybody know about that since we have the platform to do so. But
yeah, of course, definitely.
We are now that everybody knows. Clang, I see you in chat. Absolutely, of course. I was happy to do the shout out. So that having been said, we're gonna move on back to Deus Ex Caelo stuff with talking about the match Reno, which I am gonna go update. Art, take it away.
Anyway, guys, so hope you guys really enjoyed this event, and once again, shout out to the Soul Calibur community. They're really a very tightly knit crowd, and I'm glad to have known them over the last couple of years. We're doing NLBC and stuff and everything. So once again, this event is community crowdfunded for the community by the community, as you guys can see. We have new Matcherino codes to this event if you want to help it out. We're trying to break that goal. The new code is DXCII Top 8. You'll donate 50 cents for free. You can check out the marketplace if you want an item. Thank you, Ian. Added the bonus, so that now puts us at, I just got to refresh, $2,678. Wow. So we are getting very close, guys. This is an amazing National Cloud Parsec tournament. You want to buy item in the store, all these hoodies, the entire proceeds go to the prize pool. We also have a special sponsor quest as well that you can click. That's a cool 90 cents. We got some G Fuel energy clicks. Look at that, it's $1 and some change. We got Twitter quests, YouTube quests, click quests. Big ups to the stretch goals. The next stretch goal is another $400 away, so we'll have that same pop bonus that we had from the first one, at least. Yeah, big ups to the top 5 contributors: Ian, shout out Texas Gaming, Cervantes, Big Papa Chunk, and Beardly here. But we basically appreciate anybody that takes the time to use any of these promo codes or sponsor quests.
Also, just to let you all know, all of this money that's getting put in under my account is actually from Shadow Texas. There's going to be some of it from me, but the stretch goals...
You can update the comment to say that, by the way.
Yeah, you're right. I should
you can just do that, yeah. I can do it myself.
The fact that you're also mentioning that it's part of the stretch goal, I think is...
right, yeah, that was the intent.
Yeah.
Alright, so... Looks like we're heading over to Losers Round.
Yep.
Losers Round 1.
EndersJ, that's exactly it.
So, team kill?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Team Deus EndersJ versus Team Deus Incendiate. Gee whiz, guys, have we seen these guys play before?
Never.
No, I've never seen them play.
Man, I get no. First time for everything, I suppose.
Do you want to explain this, since myself and the chat and everybody watching period have never seen these two?
So the main thing to note about both of them, they're both from New York. They both started being jerks during COVID times by winning every single tournament under the sun. We're going to see X versus Cervantes, almost undoubtedly. We really haven't seen that. They will play alternate characters when they're bored, but I don't think that they're bored all that much in a tournament of great renown like this. So this is frankly a 100% toss-up. You're talking about two people who have played against each other both in tournament and outside of tournament so much that to talk about basic character stuff, character matchup stuff, is frankly not all that important. They both have it, but you know how like when you play against a friend or like a competitor so much that like you go from like Yomi level 1 to 2 to 8 to 12 and to the point where everything that's going to happen on screen is probably going to be very unusual, but it's a lot of like, well, I'm doing this because he knows that I know that he knows that I know that he's knows, and it just keeps going like that. So something tells me it's going to be either very fast or very slow. I don't think it's going to be in between. And there's going to be a lot of weird reads that are going to happen from the fact that they've played against each other on average about 75 trillion times in this past year.
Well, here we go. Game number 1 on my favorite stage, I might add. Yeah, it's my favorite stage because there's every mechanic that the game has for a stage on it. So, I'm a big fan of that.
One of the first stages that was provided, I believe, in the beta.
Yep. It was also one of the first stages like shown off in most of the character trailers, for what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very least, it was definitely one of the first stage that ass was shown on. But, so of course that's why I remember it. But yeah, so many 3Bs coming out, and finally the person who finds the mark on the 3Bs is actually Enders rather than Incendiate.
Which is a pretty big deal because Cervantes gets significantly more damage on his 3B than X gets on hers, especially without any meter used. So it's a much bigger deal when Enders is going to be hitting it. Just overall with the character matchup, you can expect somebody like Incendiate to be pressing significantly more buttons and being an overall faster character that that will continue to mash whether they're at a slight frame disadvantage or not. Meanwhile, Enders is playing like the slow lumbering giant that's kind of bobbing and weaving and trying to get that gigantic hit like the one that you're seeing here. Massive 3B. So that's the kind of matchup that I think we're going to see throughout the entirety of the 3 out of 5.
Unfortunate drop in the IGDR though for Enders. However, still got enough damage prior and got the side throw here. Yeah, that was basically a 50-50 at that point.
It was either that or K2, and that was going to cover basically everything. Alright, already 2 meter for Incendiate, but he's got quite a lot of work to do. He effectively already has, he has his bonus bar for being down 2 rounds, so he has some work to do. He only needs, decides not to spend the meter here. Okay, I definitely can respect either way.
Well, yeah, I guess it was that life lead was so big right there that Incendiate was probably just like not wanting to spend the meter. Spending the meter, I feel like, is very, very important, especially for a character like X, whose CE allows for you to do a 50-50 afterwards anyway. So it's like, maybe for some reason it didn't kill, despite that life total it would have killed. You at least get the 50-50 afterwards. You can guarantee it.
Both of them, they both have very diametrically opposite kind of ways of spending their meter, Cervantes and X, because I feel like X's is all about the CE. Did he just lose a bar there?
CE? Oh my god.
Not having to deal with one of X's CEs is a gigantic deal about trying to finish out the round. Now, he's still... I think he's dead to the 1 CE that Incendiate has at the moment. He seems constantly sidestepping to try and bait out either a vertical or just constantly, buffering the 2-2B into a CE, which is going to kill as well. So I'm curious to see how this is going through. Oh, gunshots were not blocking.
A6B. Yeah, A6B, one of the best tools that they gave this character. Yeah. But there it is, the sidestep. And yeah, you had seen so much sidestepping from EndersJ the entire time without any actual pressure. It was more like the fear of God than anything, because like you're pretty much sidestepping and then blocking for EndersJ, and that kind of eventually made Incendiate want to finally press a button, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, I think at that point, that just goes back to the fact that they played against each other so much, where there was like a good 30 seconds where Incendiate was in Enders' face, where his character is at the advantage, but they're both effectively at neutral frames, and he's just spending it to sidestep without pressing a single button. That's the kind of mix-up that you do against somebody that knows you. And so that's the kind of like very scary thing that he's dealing with there.
I think that makes a lot of sense though, because like doesn't IGG tech crouch, right? So it would have gone under if Incendiate actually finished the full thing, because it is a high.
Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like there's a chance that Incendiate, or that Enders was just interested in just throwing something out there that was going to be such a huge amount of damage where he'd be right. And even if he was wrong about it, it's like, well, okay, so I take like a hit from Xianghua, which can hurt, but nowhere near as heavy hitting as my character is. So.
Most definitely. Cervantes definitely hits like a truck for sure. But yeah, that's what they give you in the afterlife, I guess.
Yeah, you would certainly hope so, especially if you're a pirate. But he ends up losing his hat.
Oh,
no more
pirate anymore. Not a pirate anymore. He's been demoted. Up against the wall though, and yeah, gets the grab with, I assume, trying specifically for the ring out there, but not at the right angle. Still catching the walk forward, and see for your troubles at the end.
I feel like this stage change was definitely a positive for Incendiate, having significantly less room to work with for Enders. Nice hop, by the way. Just being able to catch like the back steps with that 6-6B, which is basically the one long-range thing that Incendiate's character has. Fantastic whip punish again. Doesn't get the ring up, but yeah, a smaller stage definitely going to help out Incendiate a lot more than Enders.
Oh, I mean, you can see it paying off dividends right now. Yeah, even on that back step right there, 6-6B catching out beautifully. And, I mean, we've all seen a counter hit 6-6B from Xianghua. She gets some good stuff off of it. Not as good as, like, you know, she would get from other things, but it's still real nice because she doesn't have a lot of tools for dealing with backstep like that.
Yeah, it's really just 6-6B. And by the way, I gotta say, I think it's like the second or third time that I've seen Xianghua do a 3B get blocked with no punish. So, important information for Incendiate to have. And yeah, dealing with an I-12CE is pretty gross. Going to do a sizable amount of damage, coupled with the Oki. It's effectively going to try and force Enders to spend one of his bars, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best case scenario for sure for Incendiate, but Enders had to do it. Oh, A6B actually gets ducked under. And I mean, yeah, that was probably the best thing for Incendiate. Just trading with only a single bullet, like, and now the soul charge is gone. +2 situation.
Yeah, having Ender spend a bar through like virtually no reward, even if he loses this round, though it's clear that he wants to win this game. Okay, so there you go. So we're gonna go to 1-1. I imagine we're gonna see an immediate stage switch, unless there's really something that I'm missing about Cervantes. But I really feel like he wants significantly more room to walk around, so he's not dealing with such a sticky character all the time up in his face.
Well, I mean, we gotta wait and see here. Enders might take a second to...
The only reason why you would read my is to say that I'm wrong! That's the only reason why you would do it! How dare
you! Did you know... Hey, chat, did you know that JJJ is wrong?
The only reason why he would do that. In all honesty, though, I'm very curious as to why he would stick on the stage. I would imagine he would want something that has a little bit more distance for him to work with, so... I guess I'll have to talk to him about it, but he's just gonna say that he did it specifically so I would look like a fool on stream. I know.
Oh, beautiful sidestep again. That's the second time that he sidestepped that perfectly, too. And I mean, now it's like Incendiate just babying his way out, or at least trying to. So he's gonna whip, but there it is again.
Earth Crybaby ended up catching a 3B, and Enders was like, I don't care, and I'm just gonna do a 3B again. And it makes sense with the amount of damage that you're going to get off of it if you happen to be right. I mean, hey.
So first round of Enders right there. 6AB is going to hit raw. Pretty rare to see that, but, you know, I guess it happens sometimes.
His catch is sidestepped so well for some reason. It's quite irritating. Like, he can actually use it as a pseudo-reliable tech ride. Does he? No. It always goes the opposite direction, not the direction that I'm expecting. Fantastic soul charge. Soul attack, that is. Ooh, catching the Crybaby there. He doesn't care about getting hit by Crybaby now.
That was an important tech right there, because that command throw would have killed. But, oh, 2A+B, and then finally, yeah.
It's so scary in that situation. It's very smart for Enders to go for something like 3K in a position like that, because he was dead to a CE. If he had ducked a grab, if he had blocked a K2, Incendiate was going to be able to CE and end up winning that round. It was a pretty big deal. Nice.
Ooh, but wow, that was the first level 3 GI too, and was already ready to try and stop the break attack. That was really interesting. No way! You're out?
He's out.
Oh.
Wow. He was able to get him off of the wall in immediate 6-6K, ends up pulling out all that kind of momentum. He didn't even have to spend bar in order to get that round, so pretty solid stuff.
Yeah, that shows the absolute importance of the stage awareness if you're playing SOULCALIBUR. Like, you have to know where you are, because you may be able to kill somebody where you didn't think it was possible.
It's one of the unique things for SOULCALIBUR, in my opinion. Yes, you do have such a thing as corner control in other games that don't have ringouts, but because you have such a heavy price to pay if you're not looking at the stage, it's a pretty big deal. It's almost akin to like something like Smash Bros. Like, it is very, very important. That's gonna be good.
Now we're showing, yeah, it's paying off dividends, right? Because got the kill on the ring out, and that set the stage for Incendiate to be able to make the comeback here. Already at 2-2 with similar amounts of meter. Incendiate even being up on it.
I don't know. Both are pretty even. Enders is doing pretty well with regards to like these little small hits. For the first time, he's able to get something. Oh no, that wasn't the combo.
Yeah, I mean, Enders definitely knows that wasn't the combo, but unfortunately, that's the thing that happens. Execution errors are real in a tense moment like this. And Enders, that's going to be coming back to bite him.
No, he's going to sidestep that, but he doesn't get a punish. Okay.
A6B got the lethal hit because he's got enough shots, but I guess it's not going to matter last round, right? Look at all that chip. There's the 3K.
I mean, a little bit of spaghetti on Enders' part, but the fact of the matter is he was able to read that Incendiate was trying to get some sort of momentum, so he was just constantly pressing out these small buttons. 2K, 3K, especially a lot of 3K, which, as far as I can tell, is Enders' favorite move. And
it's genuinely really good. It's genuinely really good button. So
Incendiate is the one who decides to. Man, I'm very confused as to the stage decisions from the characters. I would imagine that Incendiate would want something that's relatively small. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I didn't make top 8 for this tournament. What do I know? I don't know.
I mean, it's still kind of relatively small here. I mean, sure, there's the small wall or whatever, so...
Yeah, their balls are fake, though. It's so easy for them to just not exist for some reason that I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of jank, kind of weird, like, pseudo half-wall combos that end up going into ring-outs when they don't normally do so. But we'll see how it ends up going. I feel like, you know, Enders is going to have a little bit more room to work with, but again, as you were talking about, still about as neutral as possible.
Oh yeah, I was specifically going to mention actually that the small walls are going to allow for ring outs regardless. But yeah.
Ooh, fantastic clash setup.
Yeah, favorable clashes are nice. You can still act, and your opponent is at the mercy of your hit.
Or shout out to like having normal hit combos, so you don't even necessarily have to worry about it not being counter hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Good wherewithal.
Okay, good stuff to just, you know, just get what you can. Small caliber is really important. So, I mean, it may not have been a lot, but you're up against the wall now. It's going to try to get the ring out, but no off-axis. +2.
Oh, man, Incendiate is really desperate to try and get out of here, and he keeps making these correct decisions on things like ducks and sidesteps, but he's not getting anything out of them.
He just does nothing after the duck or a sidestep, but finally there, the launch. Okay, plus situation again, but okay. The jump
really
over.
feel like both of these players are incredibly nervous right now.
It seems like it.
Yeah, I'm really getting the impression that there's some stuff going on between them. Incendiate 1 round away from tying this up. Ends up getting the lethal hit. Huge amount of damage here. Not going to tie it up just yet. Both have double bar. Ooh, that's going to be pretty heavy. We're not spending meter here? Okay.
Well, I mean, you know, got a lot of damage out of it regardless. Yep. Can now use some of that bar on, like, a whiff punish, but I do wonder... okay, well, now it's not going to matter. That's the best case scenario, absolutely, because now he gets the gunshots, he keeps his bar, and he stays alive.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Not spending the meter in the 3B that he had initially, it wasn't as important solidifying the round, just making sure that you had the ability to keep up with Incendiate in the subsequent rounds as well. Oh, wow.
Caught the forward tech on that. Interesting trap. Okay.
Yeah, Enders seems to be really calling out Incendiate's hungriness for trying to get in and do a lot of pressure. Like, it really seems like Incendiate is kind of running into a lot of this kind of stuff. He's making a handful of errors, and you only get to make so many mistakes against Cervantes before you're dead. 2K, wall res a K.
Yeah, why not, right? But the slide. Okay. And, I mean, at the very least, Incendiate's going to be able to get a bar back if he loses, but now up against the wall, that's going to allow for free damage, yeah!
Okay, 2 and 2. I wouldn't have expected anything else. We keep him with the same stage, yep.
We wouldn't have wanted anything else.
Wouldn't have wanted, wouldn't have expected, wouldn't have needed. All the different verbs.
I don't know what those are. I don't know what those are.
Well, we'll read it in a book later. Anyway.
Book?
Yeah, book. Okay, I get it, I'm old, okay.
No, that actually wasn't the joke, but thank you. You know, now you can just make fun of yourself, but I can get away with it. Well, Enders, wow, actually IGDR is over and is able to get a throw there. And then,
yeah, it ended up working out for him.
So earlier I was going to mention the full crouch 3A from Incendiate paying off a lot, right? Like, it was getting a lot of damage because I don't think it had been blocked once, and then finally it gets blocked here. Didn't end up mattering, but yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of weird situations of it. Okay, that is the second high-level GI opportunity where Enders has ended up getting a ton of damage. Doesn't end up botching the combo that time. Does he end up getting... No, okay, he doesn't get a ring out, but he gets a back grab. He's up against the wall. Oh, whoa, my god, the tech crouching properties that Xianghua has in her stances are insane. Insane.
Well, I mean, you know, she does roll after the kick. So, like, that's what went under the wall rising A. But yeah, soul charge on deck here for both, and yep, Michael Jackson.
A6, this slumbering giant right here, constantly poking with small stuff to try and keep. Oh,
what a step!
An immediate sidestep into A slide B ends up taking that round. This is some real tight stuff. Every single round is going down to the wire.
And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Try, okay.
And still block that full crouch 3B. You can tell Enders was upset about that because he immediately did a 3B of his own.
Welcome to Soul Calibur. What do you want?
Oh my god, 3B for 3B. One of them hits a lot harder than the other one. No, there's no way. Yeah.
I think maybe he was thinking it was like a K2 or something instead of like just 2K.
I think
I'm not sure. But Crybaby's gonna happen right there.
This does have a bar. There's a good chance it won't matter all that much.
The 8-8B?
It's dead to
Yeah,
another
didn't have the bar.
Oh, catches the movement with the 6B. And Incendiate 1 round away. He doesn't have any meter. Enders has a bonus bar, effectively. But he does need 2 rounds. Going with these small kicks, decides to immediately go into a soul attack.
Yeah, the reason for that was specifically because Incendiate was back turned while down, so if they tried to avoid a back grab, they would have gotten hit by the soul attack, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what it was going for, but
Fantastic punish.
there's the tech crouch.
Tiny step ducks. Enders is forced to play such a small version of Calibur to make sure that he stays safe against a faster character. That's not going to kill just yet. It's going to have to potentially worry about Crybaby.
Who caught the back step, and then finally the 3K. We are at the last round.
No real guard damage for either player, but a huge meter advantage for Incendiate, and that's very big with double CE to whip punish any grabs, any whiffs, any block lows, anything of the sort. Oh my god, is he going to spend the meter? No, it's not.
Any of these whiffs that have been happening so far just have not been ripe for Incendiate to CE. There it is, finally! I just cursed it, I guess. And that's going to be able to put just a little bit of damage on the board, but the mix-up after here is going to be prevalent because he's got another CE, and he's got a 50-50.
So scary for both players. Effectively, Incendiate is dead just to like one launcher, but he ends up getting another grab opportunity that gets broken, and that's going to take it! A 2B into CE, keeping it straight. Oh, man. Such a close match. The closest that we've had so far. No, that's not alive.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I gave myself a heart attack for no reason.
I wasn't sure if it was gonna kill, but I felt like you would know better than I would, so I was like, okay, I'll let you call it. I'll let you call it.
Yeah, we found out rounds ago when Enders decided to keep the same stage. I don't know anything about Soul Calibur 6, and that's just the way it is. You know, I have to accept my fate, I guess. But congratulations to Incendiate. Continuing on, he's gonna play against Boom in losers quarters. So congratulations for beating Enders. Now you have to play against Boom. Jeez.
That was a damn good set, though, all around. I really do think you were right about the nerves, though, because like a lot of the times we were seeing both Incendiate and Enders kind of like they would do phenomenal steps or phenomenal step ducks, right? And then nothing would happen afterwards.
Yeah.
There would just be nothing. And
it would be cries. They would be correct about their defense, and they would both look at each other like, well, how about that? And then they would just continue to play the same game they were playing before.
Well, all right, then. But yeah, and I mean, that was one of the reasons why it made it so tense, in fact, is because I feel like a couple of more of those rounds could have been ended a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah.
And then they just ended up not happening, and then we got into situations where people were either making slight comebacks because of it, or what have you, and they capitalized off that. So, whereas they created the situations to capitalize is kind of funny, it made for a much more entertaining match, I feel like.
It's very difficult, right? Because, you know, with something like Soul Calibur 6, you always have to be worried about, so I correctly ducked, or I correctly sidestepped, but there's an additional part of the string that's going to hit my whiff punish, or Xianghua is going to be able to roll/duck under all kinds of the kinds of whiff punishes that I want to try and create. So you have to add that additional fraction of a second in order to confirm that you were correct about your defensive option and you can get damage, but by the time you've confirmed it, the situation has already dissipated. You don't have any extra damage on hand. But you can't really say that either player made a mistake. It's kind of impossible to say that due to the caliber of player from both and the fact that they're playing against each other for the 900th time in tournament.
Absolutely,
and so it's always a very, very close thing. But it looks like we're going to go to the match arena yet again. Over $2,700, so less than $300 left in order to hit yet another stretch goal.
Yes, sir. You can use the promo code DXCII top 8. You'll donate 50 cents for free. Check out the marketplace if you want an item. Remember, the hoodies, 100% of the profits go to the prize pool. Also, check out the sponsor quests. These all donate free. From Matcherino, G Fuel Energy, Twitch quests, Twitter quests, YouTube quests. Also, anybody that subscribes to the stream today, I throw in $1 to the Matcherino. So, not only subscriptions, resubscriptions, or gift subscriptions, I throw in $1 to the Matcherino. So, if you want a way to help out the stream and the tournament, that option also exists. We are very close, but make sure to use all these click options as well as the promo codes, guys. We're almost close to that next stretch goal, which pretty much secures the $3,500 pot bonus. So you get basically like a little bit over 250. You know, we'll have that pretty much that guaranteed $3,500 pot, and you guys know you love to see it. Shout out to the community for making this happen. Shout out to Matt Chirino. Shout out to the top 5 contributors, and shout out to Yeti SSPB for donating $50 to the tournament. I hope I got your name correct. Thank you, Novamage. I am contributing that $1. We're about to go into the next match soon, so just so you guys know. Thank you, King. Oh, that's Lolo and Legit.
Thanks so much for subscribing.
All right.
Last 2 players that we haven't seen just yet.
Throwing in another $1. Thank you guys for your support. See, that's all I want to see. That donation
So
train.
this is a matchup that very specifically I am not entirely sure if these two have played that I have seen.
Yeah, no,
at all.
I don't think so.
For legit is somebody who is he loves Carnage is what I'll say, right?
Yeah.
He is a big Carnage lover, and he will show you in his gameplay, right? And so for everybody that knows, Lolo is, well, I mean, as I speak of it, it happens.
Both of them tried their ring out opportunities. Lola was the one who ended up getting it. Just so you guys know, Legit is the Siegfried player that's on the left. Lolo is the Yoshi player on the right.
Thank you.
I wanted to do it very subtly. No, it's fine. I just wanted to say it very subtly so that everybody would know. But Legit is, compared to Lolo at least, a relatively newcomer. And I'm very excited to see what he ends up pulling out here. I would imagine that Siegfried has a real tough time dealing with the onslaught of the I-10 character that Lolo can constantly have. So it's definitely going to be very similar to the matchup that we had before, where you have the slower, much heavier damaging character versus the faster, less damaging character. So it's a matter of lots of hits versus some hits, and lots of guard damage on both sides.
I think the usage of A Slide B is going to be very important for Legit and how they use it. But 4KB is going to be able to close that one out. And yeah, exactly like you mentioned, a ton of guard damage. They're going to get it back, obviously, in between rounds. But with the way that this has been going, I can't imagine that it doesn't get back down to being dangerous.
Yeah.
Soul Charge coming out for Legit here.
It's really going to be a matter of like how both of them are able to deal with the stance. That is a gigantic amount of damage. He might be dead based on the ring out. Yeah. Wow.
Buddy.
6AA. Okay. So, you know, something that we've already noted from Lolo that I'm pretty sure that Legit has been able to keep up on is the fact that when it comes to the reverse side hold mixes, they haven't really been all that successful. But for 6AA, clearly we just saw that Lolo can be a little bit itchy. So you see him going for 6AA a lot more as you see him now. That's not going to be is it going to be a ring out? No, it's not. Okay. I almost had
Lolo definitely tried.
Yeah, he definitely gave it a try. Oh, and that is not going to be a ring out. He doesn't have meter.
Fake the unblockable, but yeah, you bring up an excellent point on the 6A, and that's one of the reasons why Lolo went to the low. The tech crouches under and gets the lethal hit if it ducks under a low or a high, excuse me, is because there has been so much 6A.
And so much to say, this is like the third soul charge that Legit has been able to pull off. I know he doesn't want to. That's going to be the round, I think. Yep. Okay. So I really feel like Legit was trying to ride that fine line of spending a lot of meter, but not spending the guard break so that he could use it for the next round. And I feel like if he had leaned a little bit more heavily on trying to spend that guard break, he would have been able to get to the last round. But that's a lot of hindsight, so who can say for sure. But I feel like that's another way he could have gone with it.
I mean, first game, that was high octane, real fast, despite like how interesting it was. But okay.
It's a very small stage,
be
and they're both very heavy with regards to ring outs and corner carry and wall combos, so I expect it to be like pretty high octane all around.
Yeah, well, especially with the way that Legit plays, always is going to be high octane in every match that I've ever seen Legit play in. But yeah, 1K right there, and the 6A was pretty much all Legit could go towards to maybe try to even up that life total, and unfortunately did not work out.
He was probably going to give him the life advantage if he had gotten like the full combo, but yeah, just overall Legit seems to really be struggling to try and find an answer to a lot of the Oki, a lot of the knockdowns that Lola was coming up with at the moment. So that really seems to be the killer so far. Is whenever Lola finally get. Oh, what a fantastic answer! I like that.
Charles Barkley dunk out here. Okay, AGA get the plus frames. Yeah, and Lolo trying to challenge right there, but okay, B6, and that's gonna punish the RE.
I appreciate the fact that Legit was able to realize that he only needed one more hit, and so he decided to calm it all the way down and just put himself in a frame advantage situation just to go for that one little extra hit and just try to beat out Lolo going for like a small button. Then he realized that Lolo figured the same thing, and that's how he was able to bait out the reverse smash.
Good step right there to be able to get away. At least got himself away from the ledge. But oh, there's the unblockable. That should do it.
Yep. Okay, so Legit has got his bonus meter. We'll see if he's able to do anything with it. He still hasn't really found an answer for once Lolo is in his face. He needs to get a little bit more movement going on, though I know that's easier said than done for Siegfried.
Yeah.
That's not out yet.
I was gonna say, I'm not entirely sure what he does outside of expecting a high and then immediately going to like A slide B to tech crouch under or something. But I mean, because it's really difficult for Siegfried to be able to do that, right? And I mean, there's one example, right? The A slide B. That's what we were talking about originally, is how that's gonna be an important use case for this matchup in particular. What a step back on the stance transition at that time.
I feel like Legit may have figured something out. I feel like it's a matter of like trying to establish some modicum of frame advantage and then being able to take that small step back to create situations like this. Create like a whiff when Lolo's trying to match button for button, but can't match in the range. So I really think that might be the way to go. An aggressive Soul Charge, potentially Lolo gonna pop Soul Charge back, or maybe not. Instead he's just gonna... No, he's not gonna lose the round! He should have!
Drop.
Oh no. Legit, if you end up losing this... he had the combo for the kill, right? Am I wrong? I'm
100% correct. It's just that the fact that he had already, it looks like he had already committed to not doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So he had already pretty much like done nothing, and then once he had done nothing, he was like, oh shit, I have to do something. A slide B. Like,
yeah. So is he actually going to be changing characters? He could go to Hwang. He could go. Technically, he could go to Astaroth. It looks like he's just taking a breather to try and maybe potentially get a different kind of stage. It was a pretty default kind of stage, and frankly, Yoshimitsu is good on any stage, so he could get something that's even more ridiculous. Not really all that much more ridiculous with the stage that he ended up getting. Gigantic walls, and a little bit of ring out opportunities as well. Nothing in terms of small walls. So, you know, both characters fantastic with regards to wall combos. I would say that Yoshimitsu is significantly better with regards to ring outs. So maybe he's going to lean more towards going to that one side of the ring. Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if it speaks to anything, I can tell you, zero reverse ring out opportunities that Siegfried has at all, and Yoshimitsu is incredibly strong at reverse ring out. So
a lot of REs right at the start, almost to the point of being perplexing, which was perhaps the point. Wow, nobody hitting anybody with those moves there. An exchange of whiffs. Okay,
combat roll, though, going to be able to go directly under the high, and that's going to be first round for Lolo.
Slight meter advantage, immediately challenging the A slide B with the 2A. Some important information for Legit to know about. Seems like Lolo is constantly trying to challenge with buttons whenever he blocks anything from Siegfried, so if he takes that little bit of a step back, that can't be what he wanted there.
I'm pretty sure it was not, and it may come back to haunt him. But okay, got the stun on this. That's good damage.
Yeah.
Flapjack again, and it's on the back, and yeah, exactly. Gets the 2K afterwards.
All right, so we're still going back and forth. We've been going back and forth basically this whole time.
Again, that's the second time stance transition has helped out immensely for Legit being able to get a counter hit.
Yeah, I feel like Legit, if he's able to slow it down just enough, his higher damage character will be able to win out the day. It's just a matter of making sure that Lolo doesn't get opportunities, kind of like what it's obvious he's trying to set up right now. Okay, so Legit's going to constantly go into these plus frames. He ends up getting the side step, so that's going to be a huge amount of damage. Helicopter's over.
Yeah, Dragonfly A is real good at catching step, obviously. But finally, yeah, okay, so Legit had gone to low pretty much every time there was a reverse side hold mix-up, right? And so finally going to the mid and getting the lethal hit on this one. Oh, God, that's exactly what he needed.
I really like that. So it was clear that Lolo went for that low that ended up hitting the first time, that he was clearly trying to beat out the Dark Legacy bubble, right? And it didn't end up killing, which I'm sure Lolo was expecting it to kill, and so they both just kind of sat there, where both of them are thinking that both of them are thinking about Dark Legacy, and so Legit decided to just take the initiative and just go for like the heavy hit there that ended up getting him the round. And it looks like it's going to potentially get him this entire second game. He keeps going for these grabs. They're
slide B.
So that's going to take it for Legit. Are we going to stay on the stage, Lolo? What are you thinking about doing? Main menu, not so much.
I mean, character select is absolutely possible. You had earlier mentioned a couple of the characters that Lolo is known to go towards. You know, obviously the Astaroth and the Hwang. I feel like
Mina,
Astaroth...
I should also mention Mina as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry for that.
But, you know, I mean, it could just be Yoshimitsu the whole way through, honestly. It's I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see it.
Yeah, I mean, really, any character... Astaroth would majorly surprise me. Any of the other characters that we were talking about, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going with it. But Lolo's having a real tough time. In the first game that he won, he was having a real easy time. Did he seriously go Astaroth just to, like, make me look like a jerk?
Hey, JJ, I have a question. Do you know anything about SOULCALIBUR?
I was only brought here for my beard. That's the only reason why I was brought out for commentary. He's actually going Astaroth.
I was earlier going to say that I felt
like, why is everybody making me look like a fool today? Well, I love watching Lolo's Astaroth. This will be a treat to see. I just really didn't expect it here.
I was only expecting Astaroth over Hwang. I was not certainly expecting that Astaroth was for sure going to come out. I was just expecting that Astaroth would be the first pick over before Hwang would be the pick. Personally, that's just me. But that's because obviously he has far more experience with the Astaroth.
All right, I gotta write more down. I gotta talk to Enders as to why he wanted to keep that small stage. I gotta ask Incendiate why he didn't want to keep the small stage, and I gotta know why Lolo Astaroth does better against Siegfried than Yoshimitsu. It's probably just drastically different matchup. We are not playing a faster character anymore. We're playing a more damaging character. Decides to go for the cheeky ring up, but ends up getting a huge counter hit combo instead. That's going to be a huge amount of damage as well.
I do not think he went to Astaroth because it does better than Yoshimitsu. I think it's because of what had been happening to Yoshimitsu that he felt like he needed to change it up, and Astaroth is just enough of a change up that it's kind of vast. But home run right down there, out into the stands.
I was going to
talk about legit.
See that Astaroth 6K ended up beating the Dark Legacy bubble. That was a pretty big deal, and I thought that was going to be the big deal of the round. And it turns out that it was the other way around. The baseball swing ends up taking it for legit. But Lolo only has so much time. He has to win 2 full games with Astaroth now, which is potentially what his tertiary character. I would say Mina is tertiary character. What's the 4th? Quaternary character? I don't know.
I don't remember the terminology, but I feel like Astaroth is a secondary rather than a tertiary, personally, but... Again, that's just my personal feelings on it. Okay, catches. Just the backstep, but yeah, in Dark Legacy, that means lethal hits for days.
He's just not getting... He's just not right on these reverse side holds. I wonder if he's ever thinking about... I'm not saying that this is a definite answer, but to beat out the reverse side hold mix-up, you could go with reversal edge. Oh man, it ends up getting that round, but he could go with reversal edge to beat out the reverse side hold stuff. And Siegfried does have an option to 100% call it and get him out a lot of damage there, but it'll beat both of the attack options right away. I wonder if that's
the thing is that's hindsight. You have to know for sure, and that's just... that's such a big gamble when you're down 2-1 and already down 2 in rounds. Already back at it again.
Not right. He doesn't get the lethal, which means he didn't duck. He tried to do something in front of it, which actually makes a lot of sense. We are dead to 1 hit. Okay, goes.
Oh, did he tech?
No.
Okay, no.
But he does have to worry about this bubble. He doesn't RI it. Yeah, and that's gonna do it. Legit over Lolo. And I gotta say, with all due respect to Legit, I'm very surprised at that result. I would have definitely said that Lolo was the favorite in that set. So I'm very excited to see more Siegfried play.
What, you didn't get enough of Siegfried in at the middle point of season 1?
No, I sometimes like to think back at the times where Siegfried was such a non-factor in my life. Things like SOULCALIBUR 5 and SOULCALIBUR 4, where the character was, frankly, trash. He was
booty sweat. I don't know. He was booty sweat. Yeah.
He was pretty awful. He was, at best, mid-tier in SOULCALIBUR 4. Mid-tier in SOULCALIBUR 4 for a pre-Street Fighter 4 game meant that he was kind of unplayable. But man, oh man, I guess it's just my own personal preference to not see Siegfried on screen. But hey, whatever you want to do, Legit. I'm just a commentator who apparently knows nothing and is constantly wrong about everything that he says.
Yeah, I mean, Legit style definitely led to that victory quite a bit. It felt like Lolo kind of had, what's the word I'm looking, he had a lot of trouble being able to navigate what Legit was even going to go to next. It almost felt like it was impossible for him to be read. Yeah. And which is normally something I like to say is Lolo's strong suit. Lolo catches people's timings all the time. If you watch any tournament, you will notice that Lolo is just counter hitting people left and right in weird situations too. And that barely happened in this set, right? Like, Legit was just like, no, I am the one who counter hits you now. I'm the captain now.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to be. That's one of the major skills that you have to have as a Yoshimitsu player, because you're not dealing a gigantic amount of damage off of one swing outside of wall combos and ring outs. You're constantly getting the knockdown, you're constantly resetting for more damage as it goes on. And he was getting that in the first game, but then after that, it just kind of completely fell apart. He was basically trading swing for swing with Siegfried, and basically nobody wins in a swing for swing kind of thing, except for Nightmare, I guess. Maybe that's why he wanted to go with Astaroth, because he wanted to trade swing for swing, but it just didn't end up working. The second that Dark Legacy became a reality, it all fell apart round after round.
It definitely seems difficult for sure to go for blow with a heavy-handed character like that. And he's a vi-hander character, and you're trying to box with. If you're not just outright faster than them, it's like, what do you buy? Oh, it's time? It happened? Okay.
Who could have thought?
I was almost excited. You almost made me excited.
You almost got us, Boom. We failed. Nobody will be able to. You're not going to get out of this one.
Everyone wants Raph.
Yeah. Everyone knows what your Raph can do, Boom. You have to show it to the people. He constantly keeps it in secret, and like just a guy with a hobby. He just has this Raphael in his back pocket. Never brings it out. He's a miser with his Raphael.
Let go, Raph. My scanner sensed it in you.
Yeah. He wants to show
it's gonna be Hwang.
Yeah, Hwang versus Xianghua. I don't remember the last time I saw Incendiate handle Hwang or handle Boom, so there's a good chance that he's going to run into a lot of stuff he's not fully aware of, and this is definitely the kind of matchup where you're dealing with a mid-range character who's not as fast as you, and the fact that Hwang does not get a lot of plus frames on a lot of his small pokes means that Incendiate is going to take the opportunity to mash basically on every single hit. And you can see, instead of mashing a button, it looks like he's mashing movement over and over again. Interesting hop. I wonder if that was intentional. I really hope it was, because it looked cool. We'll see.
Well, I mean, it's not mattering a ton right now, because, I mean, Boom is back all over, gets into Devastation right there, and that was the second Talisman usage, so, I mean, he's gonna go positive here at the end of this.
Yeah. Interesting that he decides to go for Devastation, which is typically the anti-soul charge aura. I wonder if he would ever think about using Resolve instead, which is the, the anti-yellow life, so to speak, because you're not going to really be dealing with Soul Charge from Xianghua as often as you would the other characters that we've seen Boom play against so far, like Mina and so on and so forth. So I'm curious why maybe he's just decided that Devastation is the way to go for every single matchup, which, is perfectly justified.
Well, I mean, like, Boom is actually genuinely on record with that Devastation is basically the best one. Right, so it's just what I feel like we're going to see, even if it's out of habit, like, even if it's like not what he means to do versus certain characters, right?
Right.
I guess
he's not going to get the largest. Yeah, because he's not going to get like the largest amount of benefit from it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad idea. That makes sense.
Okay, try to auto GI, and there's that hop again, getting around the 2A, and I mean, Incendiate is playing such a small caliber game, just getting hits here and there, and it's pushed all the way to the ledge, but finally, was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a gigantic amount of damage. I think he's dead. It's like the lowest CE in the game, but he's pretty... Okay, good. Yeah, just enough. He ends up getting rid of all of his negative talismans on top of that, so he's going to be positive yet again. And the fact that he has a round to boot to try and build up all that meter again is a pretty big deal. So Incendiate needs to try and figure out what's going on pretty quickly, because, again, they're kind of trading blow for blow, and also Incendiate is constantly sidestepping into that Roaring Wind, which is becoming a pretty big deal on top of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely becoming a big deal on top of it. Like, look at the life lead right now. Soul Charge is out, and now what was weird for having Devastation out in the first place is now, like, paying off a dividend. The CE on the Whip Punish, and Boom is taking the first game off that.
I really feel like one of the things that Enders was doing in the match against Incendiate was really picking apart situations where it was clear that Incendiate was just trying to end the game with a lot of buttons and a lot of pressure and trying to back up and try to get away as much as possible. Boom is kind of picking up on the same thing, clearly seeing that, Incendiate was down a lot of life, he activated Soul Charge, he got a huge amount of momentum going on, and then he just kept going, and Boom eventually was able to scrap some sort of spacing away from him so that he could get the CE. So, Very solid play from Boom, kind of just like biding his time, getting hit, but not necessarily by big damage stuff, and waiting to take his bet on a CE rather than taking a bet earlier on.
Are a much more aggressive start for Incendiate right here. I mean, still trying to exude the same game plan that you literally just talked about, where it's like trying to end rounds by just getting buttons as quickly as possible in the face of Boom, and it's working out a lot better. It's sometimes the game plan is correct. It's the timing or the execution that ends up being incorrect, right? So like right there in particular, I feel like it was more so the timing, right? Because he got a lot more counter hit in that positioning.
Yo, shouts to the anonymous 5 tier 1 subs. So I will throw in another 5 to the match arena.
Yo, shoutouts! Thank you so much.
Something else
that you can sub to Art, and he would donate you $1 for each one of your subs.
Kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. But something that I'm also noticing that Incendiate is picking up on is that in a lot of situations where Boom is able to create enough space to where you could potentially get a whiff, he's going for that 6AA. And the 6AA is a double high string that doesn't jail, and so it looks like Incendiate is going for more ducks and more tech crouch kind of moves, like wall risings, much more often when he's up close to kind of preemptively deal with that 6AA. I'm interested to see if he's going to continue on with that as the set goes on.
Only way to see it, because we're starting to slow down the pace of this match so far. It's been a lot slower than the previous game in general. So I mean, there's going to be more time to see it right now. Gets the command grab here.
Oh, nice!
It and
that's
out away.
Oh boy,
that's super unfortunate.
Yeah, Incendiate perfectly calling the back turn B plus K, and yet not really getting the punish that he was hoping for because he was unfamiliar with the spacing. Ends up kind of like putting himself in a ring out position, and Boom ends up capitalizing on it. So real rough stuff for Incendiate. Hopefully that doesn't affect his gameplay in the last round, potentially the last round.
Well, I think that had to have been an execution error, because you saw he went for straight BB into BB, right?
Yeah,
so I don't even know if it was like a spacing issue. I just think he just got the wrong move.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be a combination of both, but predominantly it's probably the execution error like you were talking about. Whoa, just constantly ends up working out. He sidestepped like the entire like 3/4 of Hwang's character model there, and Boom was like, well, fine, I can do that too, and he just decides to do it as well. So meeting tip for tat there. I appreciate that. Boom up 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, you earlier talked about the strength of Hwang's sidestep, maybe the best sidestep in the game at this point, and so
Hwang is the only character I think who can consistently sidestep Xianghua's 2-2B, which is possibly her best move, is rivaled as like an unsteppable vertical launcher that's also safe and goes into CE and does all these things, but this might potentially be a pseudo like counter pick match because Hwang has more responses for 2-2B than most other characters do, so maybe that's something that Incendiate has to think about.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned that specifically, 2-2B has hardly been used. I think Incendiate has been thinking about it, and it's actually been slowing down the offense that Incendiate would normally go to, because in the previous match versus EndersJ, you saw a lot more 2-2B, if you remember.
Constantly sidestepping, constantly threatening the 2-2B as well, but you don't necessarily see that as much. Ended up running into the 3B. That's going to give Boom the first round. Incendiate looks puzzled. He's not entirely sure how to go around this kind of a situation. I don't think he was expecting as many buttons from Boom. Oh, ends up going with Resolve.
Okay. Rejuvenation time.
Yeah. And we're going for like, instead of going for the 6AA, and we're going for things like 2A. Just this awkwardly timed buttons is really screwing up Incendiate's timing. Ooh, fantastic wall combo.
Yeah, big damage on this, and then the Oki pressure afterwards is going to be up against the... Nope, he techs back into the wall, okay, but there's the sidestep. Boom sidestep so far, been saving his ass.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Ends up trying to go for the force block. It looks like it doesn't necessarily work on Xianghua. She didn't have to block the 6-6B. More and more sidestep. So that's not going to kill, but going to potentially give Incendiate the Oki that he's going to need for that last hit.
Yeah, just one mix-up here, and... Oh, yeah, that would have been the option to kill, right? So I think... Oh, lethal hit that! It's going to be very close. Not going to do it, though. One hit for either player could possibly do it, depending...
Oh, he tries to go for the chain. Oh, and catching him running in. Very similar to just running at him to kind of mock him. Boy, howdy. Just so you guys know, just in case you didn't know before, with the Resolve Aura, if you're in yellow life, the jump B becomes a lethal hit. And so now he's decided to go with Devastation. He's at -6, which means that he has potentially a whole slew of other lethal hits provided to him. Yeah, he ends up blocking the for AAB, which is launcher punishable. So, oh wow, he's getting that too. -8.
One of the lethal hits, just kind of ended up getting that though, but he's gonna get this one at least.
He has the Stomp, he has the 4AA, both of them are lows. Those are the lethal hits that are available to him now. He really needs to frankly win this, despite the fact that he's up 2 rounds. If Boom loses this round, he's kind of in a bad way. Ends up soul charging through this 3B.
Ooh, and I think Incendiate recognizes that being the situation, and goes for the high grab, recognizing that he wanted to get up. Nice. Okay, this is the situation you're talking about. He lost 1/3 of his life simply due to talismans alone, and that's going to be able to give Incendiate a possibility. Great jump over the clash tried to happen into the GI, and we are in the war.
Yeah, let's not also forget he lost 1/4 of a bar too, so he didn't have soul charge at the beginning of the round when he should have. So that's always like something that is important to remember as well. Fantastic -12 punish.
Yeah, you don't just lose the health.
Oh man, fantastic sidestep. That's not going to do it, but I'm assuming, yeah, he's going to spend as many talismans as he can. Gets the lethal hit. That's going to do it for Boom. Whoo-wee! That was one of the more convincing sets that we've had so far in this top 8. It's been that was Hwang just running around and jumping around all over the place, and Incendiate wasn't entirely sure what to do. As time goes on, I think he'll realize where he can kind of smother Hwang with additional buttons and faster buttons than Hwang's going to be able to produce.
Yeah, no, that was... Boom had a very clear game plan set in mind before even going into the set, and just straight up stuck with it the entire time. You noticed a lot of those short hops just to be able to get over some of the stuff that Xianghua was bringing to the table, right? I think it was... I think he jumped over the first hit of full crouch 3A, and then like 9B or something like that, which was the lethal hit, and that was already huge enough. Just to start right there, but he had been doing it prior to that as well, before he had the resolve on. He had been able to space out correctly the entire time. He had been dealing with any sort of transitions the entire set. It was, again, I feel like the game plan was just very clear and set, and he stuck with it the whole way through.
He basically, I really feel like a lot of it, in terms of the counterplay, Boom put his controller down on his desk and just put all of his body weight on the 2 or 8 of the D-pad and just constantly sidestepped any time that he had the capability to do so, because he felt like even if he did end up getting hit by something that the sidestep would lose to, which is also like a very small amount of options, he was still interested in like just taking that hit and bettering his stage positioning rather than worrying about the actual mix-up the way other characters have to. It looks like we're going to go to the match arena yet again. 27.85 so far. We're getting ever so much closer to that $3,000.
Yeah, we are. You can use the promo code DXCII Top 8 to help us get there. You can check out the marketplace if you want an item. The hoodies all go to the tournament. We have some shirts, SNT Spooky swag in there as well. You can check out the special sponsor quest also to donate free. That's 90 cents right there. We got G Fuel. That's another 90 cents. And we got a website visit. We have follows on Twitch. Look at that. That's 35 cents. Just following a channel on Twitch to the Match Arena page. You kidding me? NYC Tech It Up. That's an easy follow. Sakura TV. We have Twitter Quest too. Look at all these free options. Look at that. Follow NY Calibur, WASD Gaming. You guys are sleeping on these Twitter Quest links. This is liking and retweeting, dynamic focus. This is like multiple dollars that I've scrolled through already. I think this has been at least like, what you guys say, $3? I've showed you how to farm.
I don't even know how many.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. Quest there. So definitely milk it, guys. We're trying to get to that $3,000 mark. We're pretty close to getting there, which means the pot will be $3,500 if we basically get less than wow, it's definitely less than $250 now. It's at $27.85. It's like $200 and some change will get us right there. And big ups to the top 5 donors. Ian, Shadow Texas, basically, front running the tournament. Cervantes 300, Big Papa Chunk. Oh wow, he gave another 100. I didn't even see that part. And Beardly here. But we definitely appreciate anybody that takes the time to use any of these promo codes or sponsor quests. Also, for every sub, I throw in $1 to the match arena, which you guys can see. I'm just going through the list of contributors, and this goes on mighty long. And a lot of these are, of course, there's big donations here, but as you guys can see, there's a lot of free clicks and stuff, and sponsor quest usage. So get to it, guys. All right, looks like you're ready to get into the next match, which is Slytiger and Legit.
So we're gonna see two people who are going to be going crazy all of the time. I think this is going to be a very similar match to what we had between Legit and Lolo with regards to the role, effectively, that Slytiger is going to have to play in this matchup. So it's going to be a matter of, is Legit as comfortable against Talim offense as he seemed against Yoshimitsu offense?
Yeah, it's really going to be about the ability to duck under those highs like we kind of saw versus Xephukai, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very specifically, that gave Slytiger quite a bit of trouble, because even if it was only a handful of times, for Xephukai's character, it's lethal hitting, right? Over and over again. And so ducking under those highs also stops the pressure.
So I'm curious. I mean, you know, the wall risings from Siegfried aren't going to give him the lethal hits, but AGA into 4A, just one side and then the other side for horizontals for the ring out. So it looks like both players are going to heavily go for the ring outs, and Slytiger tends to be a little bit narrow-minded, in my opinion, with regards to constantly going for those ring outs when they're available to him. It could potentially screw him up like it frankly kind of screwed him up there. I hope that he doesn't end up going too hard in the paint for those reverse ring outs when it could get him wrung out himself.
That's the nice part about 3 out of 5 is, you know, Slytiger can kind of take that and be like, all right, well, we don't need to do that again.
I had my round where I could test it out. It didn't end up working, so I can just continue on without it and be better for it.
Yeah, well, it didn't come up that round, as he was able to actually push Legit over to the ledge that time, recognizing the mid was coming off the reverse side hold. A great block on the low, but there's the clash.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Legit in terms of like constantly step ducking in order to get away from a lot of this Talim pressure. This isn't going to ring out. It's going to give him quite a lot of damage. He's then going to go back into the mid-range, so he's going to have to deal with the Talim Soul Charge now. Same kind of situation where, oh no, that's it. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. He just ended up blocking the first hit of the string and then un-G'd. I don't know.
It happens, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, they won't go for the whole thing, and then you try to step, and then you just get bodied.
And so I was like, nah, I totally will. Oh, doesn't end up canceling into the pan.
Yeah, didn't hold the button down, I guess. Just gonna go for the back flapjack. Oh yeah, I mean Soul Charge A Slide B is pretty cool.
Also, I don't know so much about doing reversal edge against virtually any character in Soul Charge, because it really seems like universally what Soul Charge provides you is a lot of ways to get more break attacks. So even a fantastic reversal edge like Talim's is going to have a tough time dealing with that sort of thing. But you're in a position where you end up eating a lot of damage, but you're in Soul Charge, and you can do quite a lot of damage here. You can potentially get a ring out as well. Oh, fantastic duck, but he gets back up for the high instead of actually punishing with the wall rising. That's a pretty big deal as well. Nice step duck again.
Attempting to, yeah, I was going to say interrupt a lot of the time. Legit throughout this entire, like, pressure string. And eventually it finally worked out just at the very last moment, and Slytiger did not have enough health to be able to contest after that.
Really seems like both Lolo and Slytiger are getting surprised as to when Legit will, at a long-range kind of Oki situation where you don't necessarily get like a force block or anything like that, he will wake up with something like 6B for the tech crouch, for like this long-range vertical move, and try to catch people going in for something that they want to be a force block but isn't technically a force block. Mm-hmm. And so that ended up getting Slytiger's first loss and Legit's first win. So I hope that Slytiger is able to figure that out and be a little bit more compact with his pressure next time. Oh boy,
I mean, that's not a great start for it, unfortunately. And okay, tried to go for the back throw. It ended up being a side, luckily for Slytiger. Yeah. So the tech was available at least. Okay.
That new 6K really hasn't been coming into play all that much, just Siegfried playing at a range that's just simply too far away. Another fantastic duck, but Legit doesn't necessarily... He gets a gigantic amount of damage on some of these reads, but not all of them. And so if he makes it all of them, this match is going to go by real quickly.
I'm genuinely surprised that Slytiger was able to get the win bear before the wall rising case came out, but it's not going to end up mattering, as A Slide B is going to do even more work as usual.
A slight meter advantage for Legit, but Slytiger with Talim is going to be able to build a lot of meter really quickly if he wants to. Come to think of it, we haven't really seen that much reversal edge from Slytiger comparatively to like other Talim players like Grandma's Got Game, like who use it as often as they inhale. Oh my god.
Talk about it. You're inhaling this slide right here, son.
Hey-o. Okay, he has the wall. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, like, he has, like, the wall. He had a Soul Charge where Legit wasn't gonna be able to interact with it, so there was a good chance he could have gotten a big comeback had he not gone for that middle string. So that was gonna be a huge deal, and every time I say one sentence, Legit has taken off half life with a combo.
Oh, I mean, this is Slytiger's chance at this point, and as soon as I say that, immediately
Yep.
the reverse side hold B.
Ooh, tried to hard call that Soul Charge activation with the RI. Not so much. Dark Legacy now, though. Nice duck. Is that going to do it? No, not just yet.
Out of the CE with just the 2K right there, and Legit has just been never stopping on this pressure. I mean, I know earlier I talked about him being a quote-unquote Carnage liker, but goddamn. Like,
yeah, and really, it's his defense so far that's been very impressive to me. The ability to get away from the Talim pressure that involves a lot of highs, kind of what we've seen from what Xephukai was able to do, except Zeph seemed to be specifically taking individual moments to make reads on ducking into lethal hits. Siegfried, players in general, plus just what Legit has decided to do against Talim, is ducking just because Siegfried players duck. That's what they do. Same with Killick players. The wall rising B is simply so good that they're just going to go for it more often than not. It's just putting themselves in a position that gives them much more of an advantage with regards to damage that they're going to pull off. So, you know, I'm not surprised, and it's really up to Slytiger to throw out more mids, throw out less committal strings that don't create as much damage, but are also less risky.
well, what's surprising about that is I can actually think of several times where he also stepped some of the crazy mid verticals that Slytiger was going toward, right? And getting a lethal hit off of them. So that's where the hard part comes in, is like Slytiger was definitely trying at certain points. It just felt like Legit knew.
Doesn't it suck when it's like you seem to be wrong over and over and over again, and you think to yourself, okay, at this point, surely I've done enough conditioning to where I'm going to be able to hit him with this other thing that beats the option he's going for every time, and they end up being correct about that one too. Man, I didn't know that my anecdote was going to take an entire, like the round was going to be over by the time I finished that sentence, but hey, what are you going to do?
I'm just going to tell you right now, that happens a lot. That has been happening to you all day. So take that is for your consideration. But one thing happened right there, actually, that you had mentioned earlier, was the fact that you had not seen Slytiger do a lot of reverse ledge. That was the reason right there. Legit had blown up that reverse ledge without a moment's notice.
Still going with the 1K this time. We haven't really seen him go for some of these small kicks, and he's going for like some slightly smaller moves, especially with regards to kicks, which are going to beat out the base holds as well. So I very much appreciate that. But that being said, now he's going to end up taking like a little bit over half-life. Again, a side throw as opposed to a back throw.
Yeah, it's unfortunately just not the situation that Legit is thinking it is, I guess. Either that or he's pressing grab just too late or something. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, he's got enough damage here for this round.
Okay, he's got the soul charge damage going on right now. Every time this has happened, Slytiger gets a little bit of damage. Okay, finally goes for the mid where Legit was ducking. He still has to deal with the bubble. He doesn't necessarily... Okay, the unblockable. Is that going to be it? It's not. Ooh, the GI. And the option that Slytiger decided to go with was going to beat Dark Legacy Bubble as well. So very smart stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, Slytiger had basically waited for the highs to whiff so that Legit could think that, okay, I'm going to keep ducking. And that's where that mid found its mark. To wait until Slytiger was going to stay on the ground for sure and then start whipping those highs.
Does he end up getting a ring out here? No, just again.
No.
It is a ring. That was such a weird angle. It wasn't backwards. It was slightly back and to the right. Exactly what he needed. So we're going to go down to the last round. A gigantic meter advantage for Slytiger. He has 2 CEs. He could just go into Soul Charge. Okay, so he decides to go into CE immediately. Going to be a good amount of damage. It's going to force Legit to feel like he needs to use his meter almost right away, lest he start losing out on the momentum.
Backing away from the ledge. Doesn't want to deal with the situation where Legit like sidesteps and gets the ring out again like last time.
Yeah.
That forces the soul charge. Yeah, nice step right there. Knowing that one of the only ways that Talim is going to be able to catch in that situation is Superman Punch.
Okay, so soul charge feeds soul charge, and that I think is going to do it. Okay, so Legit ends up taking... Was that his second game? I thought that was his third game. Yeah, 3-0. So, yeah, that's Legit. Legit moving on in losers, and honestly, I just feel like Slytiger committed too heavily to certain options when Legit just had the correct defense and was able to, you don't need to be right that often as Siegfried in order to win, right? It only takes a certain amount of guess rights every single round in order for you to completely have it, either through ring out or just by raw damage. So just less commitment, I think, is going to work better whilst you're trying to like dance around this giant of a character and a giant sword, rather than going for something that's a little bit heavier.
I again have to harken back to specifically your mention of Legit's defense. That made it so that Slytiger could not figure out the time to use horizontals, to use verticals, to use anything, pretty much. There was one time where he had specifically waited for him to stay on the ground and, you know, whiffed the highs to then force him to want to duck, and that worked out pretty well, but it's one time is not enough, you know, unfortunately for Slytiger, so that's going to be Legit moving on, and that means Boom versus Legit is going to be our semis matchup, and then winners finals is Xephukai versus Nowo.
All right, from what I understand from the notifications that we're getting, it looks like Ebonic Plague, our time has finished, and we're probably going to be taking just a small break in order for the commentators to shift around, and we're going to have our other commentators, James Chen and Zubaz, close out the rest of the top 8. Thanks very much for having me. Thanks very much for commentating with me, Ebonic Plague. I believe this is our first time commentating together, and hopefully not the last. And so thanks very much for having me, to everybody involved in Deus Ex Caelo too.
Maybe one of these Sundays I'll actually be free.
I keep trying. Yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, hopefully not too shameless of a plug, I do War of the Roses streams where we do Parsec First to 10 exhibitions with the exact same Parsec servers that you're seeing here. The exact same kinds of players are typically involved as well, so if you like this kind of content, check me out on my Twitch, which you can find in my Twitter and stuff, but enough shameless plugging from me.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you're pretty much a mainstay.
Thanks
It's
very
like,
much.
Plug everything.
yeah, plug everything you want.
Oh, those were all the plugs I had. I don't have any more plugs.
Well, next time. And Ebonic, you already know what it is. Great job, man.
Thank you guys for having me, as always. Can't stress enough. So, guys, just before we head out, I'm going to say, please hit up that Matcherino with Expedience, because there is free codes. Well, shout outs to Kalmai. Thank you so much. Kalmai read my mind. Hit up that Matcherino with Expedience, because we are very close to the final stretch goal. And that will be a big deal for everything right now. We've already hit 2 of those stretch goals, but you guys have the free code DXC, II top 8 for 50 cents right there. Obviously, you can buy any of the Matcherino hoodies, and those will go 100% of the proceeds to the pot. Or you can finish any of those sponsor quests, like following, going to the YouTube, clicking on just a few links. You don't really, you get to just visit stuff, and you still put money in the pot. So please go ahead and check those things out, because those are members of the community that are great for not just SOULCALIBUR, but a lot of other things within the greater FGC. And that will be a big deal in moving the greater FGC forward, in showing them that we all love each other.
Yep, pretty much. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm gonna show the rest of my old footage. As you guys can see, I messed up my crop, so it's not immersion now. But yeah, I'm watching the Deus Ex Caelo 30. Look, and you see, actually, this actually works out perfect. Look, like the last one, we reached $3,400, and like we didn't have like the backing, this crazy backing right now. So we're definitely progressing. And, you know, shout out to the SOULCALIBUR community for really making this stuff big. Anyway, the rest of the top 8 is coming up right your way. And thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to get out of here.
Yep. Laters. All right. I can turn up some volumes. I have to change some volumes.
Hashi versus Rich Sticks.
Okay. Here we go. All right. 2 kind of border.